Jeremiah.
I'm Neela.
And I'm Wesley, and we're the Lumineers, and you're watching France 24.
I belong with you, you belong with me, my sweetheart.
Their debut album resulted in 2 Grammy nominations and a standout single in Ho Hey. Four years on, and the Lumineers are determined to build on their promising start with new record, Cleopatra. With every success comes expectation. Was that something that you felt when you were recording the second record?
Yeah, I think so. I think there were expectations, but we were pretty hard on ourselves more as far as trying to write an album. I think that what we found with the first one was that the reason I think it had legs and we had what the start we had was because there was an album behind it. And we would play Ho Hey third or fourth in the set just to prove the point that we had written an entire record. And a lot of people would stick with us to the end of the set and sing every word to all the songs. And I think it was scary in the sense that how are we going to do that again? How are we going to write a complete album so that if we're lucky enough that someone grabs onto one song and they take one bite, that they go and eat the whole thing? Because it's hard if you just have to skip every other song on a record. You don't want to make an album like that.
Now, one thing you've already mentioned is your use of percussion. It seems very important in the songs that you use. It's also a common thread in this record, following on from your first album. Is that something that's a conscious effort, or just something that you were drawn to quite naturally?
Yeah, I think it's both, or it's conscious and it's something we're drawn to. I think as like our formative years, you know, when I was 14, 15, it was Metallica, the 8-piece double kick drum set, bigger, more complicated, equaled better. And now it's sort of come full circle where simple, but the same amount of, you know, passion goes into those simple style. And I think it's a simple way to try to set us apart. It's still the fundamental of music, of rhythm and percussion, but just a slight, subtle way to try to kind of separate us from the pack a little bit.
Your new single, Ophelia, has that theme running through it as well. Is it about falling in love with someone or something in particular?
It can be, if that's how you see it. It seemed like that's what happened with some songs on the first record, where it's not really up to us to tell you what it's about.
Ophelia, you've been on my mind, girl, since the flood. Ophelia, heaven help a fool who falls in love. I got a little paycheck you got.
I think it was written with the line of you've been on my mind since the flood. I think it's talking about this wave that we experienced of change and that washing over us and then sort of dealing with the aftermath of that. And I think being a little frightened of what that does to groups of people, you know, you don't want to get swept up with that. You want to sort of stay who you are.
Can I ask you about Manana, who
Sure.
I understand is a taxi driver who has oddly taken center stage?
Manana, yeah.
How did she become a focal point of some of your songs?
Because her story was so compelling, just this idea that she had fallen in love at around 16 and then her father dies, and then in the midst of all that, the love of what turns out to be her life proposes to her, and then she's so numb she doesn't respond, and he leaves and tracks out footprints, and then she leaves those footprints and won't clean them, and he never comes back. And that's how I heard of her, through this story, and it drew me in, and I learned more and more about her and how now she drives taxis, and she's this very strong, defiant woman, but she's had a hard life, and so her story it's not the typical Hollywood story, but there's something really compelling about it.
Ask for mine. But I admitted I would marry you in an instant. Damn your wife, I'd be your mistress to have you.
Have you explained this to her? Does she know what a muse that she's been for your writing and your
Well, she's part of the story. You know, you kind of tell a story that combines different ideas. But yeah, for sure, we have friends back in Georgia who have told her about the song and played it for her, and because you want to do her justice. You don't want her to feel good about it. So I think she does. Well, one day we'll go over and play it for her in person.